Good day, welcome to the channel of SA Accounting Network. Remember to subscribe to my channel and like the video as well. In this little video I want to show you guys how to add an employee to Vanilla Payroll. So let me head on to my computer and I can show you exactly how it works. So once you've logged into your system, remember the first video we talked about the setup of the download and installation of Vanilla Payroll. Second one we talked about setting up a company. Now the next one is going to be adding an employee to your company. So once you log into the program, you're going to be welcomed with this screen. So we're going to say that we want to select this employer. Then you can see it opens up a screen like this. And this is where all the magic happens when you start adding employees. So you can see right at the top, you've got a couple of buttons there. You've got one that says add an employee, edit employee, delete employee, terminate, transfer status, all those sort of buttons. The one we're going to be working with for now is the one that says add employee. As soon as you click that little button, you can see over here is the screen that you are welcomed with. You see, for now, there's a little button over there that says nature of employee. You can see you've got options over there, an individual with an ID number or passport number that is not an asylum seeker. The second one is individual without an ID number, director, trust companies, all the different things. Under normal circumstances, you would normally choose A. So what it would happen, it opens up all the options for you to be able to add the information. But for now, because I don't want to obviously show ID numbers, I'm going to use the second one, an individual without an ID number, just for the basic, for the setup. And I'll show you just now what screen changes. So you can see over here, when you start with the process, you say Mr. My initial is H, my name is Heinrich, as you all know, surname is Grove, and then you can see that is the first information. You can see employee information. If you're working with clock card numbers, you can put in a clock card number. Employment date, so remember this is not the first date in the financial year, this is actually the date when you employed that person. So if it maybe was, let's say for instance the 1st of March 2011, you're going to be putting that in there. Termination date at this stage you will keep open because you're obviously not just going to employ somebody just to fire them on the first day. You can see employment status at the moment is active, and you can see annual revision and appraisal date. You can also say that it will be the 1st of March 2021 will be the next revision or appraisal date. Company CC trust number. Remember when we worked with that setup there, one of the companies or one of the options there was to set up a company or a trust. You can see at the bottom over here, we've just for now going to say cash, because otherwise just now once we get to the one screen we're going to get stuck, because then we need to add employee details or the bank details over there. You can see the second tab at the top says employee information continued. So you can see over here at the moment this little block is grayed out, which is identity number, because remember this option we chose at the top over here, we said an individual without an identity number, where under normal circumstances you would choose an individual with identity number. So over here you have to put in the date of birth for that person. If he hasn't got an ID number, you can see then it actually works out the age of that person over there. And then you can see the gender. You need to tell it whether it's a male or female. Then after that, you can see you've got the residential addresses. So you'll see that everywhere on this screen as well, you've got these little asterisks. So you can set up an employee without having to add all the information of that employee. But as a minimum, you need to put in all the things with the asterisks. Otherwise, you won't be able to save that employee on the file. So over here, you're going to put in the information over here of the employee. So this is going to be his address, not the company's address. So you're going to be saying where this guy lives. You're going to say he's in Cape Town. And the postal code, we can say 7975. Just correct this little thing over there. You can see postal address. So you can see over here, you've got this little ticket to say that you want to use a PO box, same as residence, street address, private bag. So if it is a PO box, then you obviously need to put the PO box details in over there. Contact information, you can see there's his work number. You can see if he's got a home number, you're going to put that in there. Let's make it 05, cell phone number. And you're going to just put in his cell phone number over there. If he's got an email address, you're going to say what his email address is. And then you can see spouse's name if you want to put it in, spouse's work information. So I think that's just basic type of things that you want to set up for them. You can see other information over here. You can see occupation levels. You can see what type of level he is, whether he is semi-skilled, skilled technician, professionally qualified. This is not compulsory, but it's really good to have it. And you can see over here employment equity classifications. So you can actually say whether the guy is white, African, Indian. You can see job functions. You can see whether he's core or support, and you can see both as well over there. You can see with his payment information, you can see whether you want to actually add him to say that you're paying by check, or whether it's cash, or otherwise whether it's transfer. No, normally once you choose transfer, then you actually have to load the banking details of the employee onto the system as well. You can see over here's the screen where you can set up the banking details. And then this little tab over here is quite important as well when it comes to working hours. You can see by default over there it says average working hours per day is 8, hours per week 40, and days per week is 5. So if you had to change these hours, the effect that this will have of changing information. So if you're going to say that he starts working on a Monday, that he works 9 hours instead of 8 hours, and maybe on a Friday only works 6 hours, where it's going to have an influence is on your overtime calculations when you get to the pay slip. So just keep in mind, by default you leave it as 40, but if you do use different working hours, then you need to set it up over here. You can see here's tax information. You can see you actually need to get your employees' tax numbers as well. That's really, really important for when you start generating RP5s. I know at this stage, once you save it without a tax number, it just gives you a warning, but I know the receiver of revenue is getting very strict with this, that you actually have to have your employees' tax number. So if they haven't got it, then make sure that they phone the receiver of revenue to get their tax numbers from them. You can see over here, they've got a thing where you can say notes. So you can make additional notes on this employee. You can see the next tab at the top over there would be your payslip profiles. Over here, you can put in what the guy's normal salary. So for our purposes, we're just going to load that he's earning 10,000 Rand per month, 10,000 Rand. So you can see over here, remember when we set up the company, they ask you the same information over here as well, whether you work with pension funds, provident funds, retirement annuity, medical aids. So you can see if, let's say for instance, you've got somebody that's on a retirement annuity, then you can put that contributions in over here. You can see over here is based on a percentage or based on an amount. So if you say that the employer contributes 1,000 Rand per month, and then the employee contributes 1,000 Rand per month, then that is the place where you would actually set up that retirement annuity fund contributions. Your medical aid, similar thing over here. You've got the little tick box here there to say the employee belongs to medical aid. So you can see over here as well as the information to say that the employee contribution, if your employer pays 2,000 Rand per month, and then the employee pays 2,000 Rand per month, then you can see over there, it works out what the percentages is of the contributions. What's also important as soon as you start with medical aids, is these ones over here that says adult dependents. So if it's you and your wife, you'll make that 2. And if you've got children, then you can put in the amount of children. You can see on the right hand side over here, it works out what the medical tax credit is. So that is almost like a discount that you get on your tax when you calculate the pays you earn on a monthly basis. You'll see when we start working with pay slips, then you will see where this information comes through. So just remember that this place over here is where you set up the medical aid contributions for your employees. So that is where the medical aid contributions was. Retirement annuity is over there, and then you can see over here at the bottom, it's got this tab that says income profile, deduction profile, loans, bonuses, company contributions, notes, and there's your employee tax incentive. So let's quickly have a look at income profile. So let's say for instance you have somebody that works for you and he earns a salary of 10,000 Rand plus, you decide that you want to give this guy maybe a travel allowance. You can see over there is the tab for your allowances. So we're going to say travel allowance, select, and we're going to say that we want to give him a travel allowance of 5,000 Rand per month, and you press save. So that is where you would put the travel allowance. On the deduction profile, you can see over here is a lot of things that you can add as deductions as well. So it gives you a long different list of things. So let's say for instance you decide that he wants to do other deduction, and we want to say that maybe they want to have a voluntary over deduction of tax. So that's quite a good example. And then we want to say that he wants to contribute 1,000 Rand extra per month on his tax. So that is where you put those extra deductions onto that. Loans, so if you've given this guy a loan, you would add it over here as well to say that you would put the loan information to say that the original amount was 5,000 Rand, If you do charge him an interest rate, you will put it in over there. And you can see number of periods over here. You can say for how many months he actually wants to pay back that loan of 5,000 Rand. So you can see if you work with a loan of 5,000 Rand with the interest rate of 7%, then you can see over there is the monthly payments, how it will work out. So you need to add the date of first payment. So let's quickly see date of first payment. We will put that as end of this month. We're going to say the 31st of August. So that is where you would put in loans, bonuses. You can see over here, you can decide whether you want to add bonuses. There's another place when you start running payslips, we can add that as well. But there's a place for bonuses, company contributions, where you can see over there. And then if you want to make notes, leave and overtime, you can see over here on this tab is where you put in all that information. So if you may be carrying the information over from another payroll program, then you would bring these leave over from that payroll program onto this one over here. Remember, annual entitlement, by default everybody is entitled to 15 work days per month, or if the guy's going to work 7 days a week, then it's 21 days. So that's just something that you need to have a look at over there. You can see set up future entitlement increase. We're not going to worry about that at the moment. You can see over there is your sick leave tab. So you can see, say to that guy that he's entitled to 3 days sick leave every month, once a year. And you can see your unpaid leave. So if you do want to add unpaid leave for some reason, then this is the place where you would add that. So if, let's say for instance, for somebody decided that he wasn't going to be at work, let's say for instance from the 11th until the 13th of August, then you can see it's for 3 days that he will then have unpaid leave that will contribute over there. And you can see it actually works out in the value of the unpaid leave. You can see there's other leave that you can add over there, your public holidays, and then over here is your overtime. So once you start working with overtime, if somebody did work overtime for a certain percent or for a certain day, you would select the date that he worked overtime, and then you would say the amount of hours worked. Overtime description, you can see over here, you've got time and a half. Remember, that's normally during the week. When you work over weekends, or depending on how the company works, you would select whether it's double time or normal time. And so you can see that is where your overtime works out to, and that is the basic setup of an employee. And I think maybe the other thing that's maybe just worth touching on as well is your year-to-date totals. So let me quickly go back to my personal information, and I want to say my employment date was the 1st of March 2011. So if I go to my year-to-date totals and I don't put in any information, let's say for instance from the period running from the 1st of March up until the end of July, then this payroll program is going to think that for those 6 months or for those 5 months that this guy didn't earn anything. So it's really important over here that you actually have to add the year-to-date totals over here. So you can see over here at the top it says period works. So I'm going to say that he started working the 1st of March 2020. Does it give me the selection? Oh, setup. I need to press the button there. So I need to say that he worked from the 1st of March up until the end of July. You can see number of periods worked. It works that out automatically. Then you can see over here, under the sources, now I need to tell this program what this person earned. So if he worked for 5 months, we're going to say income, normal income taxable, which means that he would have earned 50,000 Rand if he earns 10,000 Rand per month. The next one we're going to say add. Remember we said that this guy earns a travel allowance, and his travel allowance of 5 months would have been 25,000 Rand. Then you can see over here, it gives you the calculation of what these contributions was. If there was other contributions, you can see on the deductions, you can add over here now to say that RP5 deductions, here you can put in whether there was medical aid contributions, all that type of stuff over here. Here's his UIF contributions. So if he did contribute to UIF during the previous 5 months, you'll put in all those totals in here from your previous payroll package. But just the important thing over here, I'm going to just close the screen, is this bottom, this little button at the bottom. You can see that if somebody worked for 5 months and he earned 75,000 Rand, including his travel allowance, then you can see over here, it says calculated tax, 6,367 Rand 50. So you need to go and have a look and see what that other payroll program calculated. So if he only paid 6,000 Rand worth of tax, then you'll see that once you do your next payroll, you can see at the bottom there it says tax still owing, then it means that On his next payslip, by default, those programmers can add 367 Rand extra tax on his normal salary that he takes. So normally, if you carry over information from one payroll package over to another one, then that information would normally be accurate, but it's always important just to double check. So let's say, for instance, you did manual calculations, and for some reason for the 5 months you deducted 7,000 Rand on tax for this person, then you can see now it says tax owing minus 633 Rand. So once you do his payslip for the month of August, it means that if his tax normally works out 2,000 Rand, then it's going to reduce that tax by 632 Rand. So that's just something really important as well. If you do an employee setup and you carry information over from one payroll package over to a next payroll package. I'm going to press Save Employee. And that is how you add an employee to the Vanilla Payroll. On the next video, like I said, I'm going to be talking about month-end procedures. So that is when we start working with payslips and the reports that you need to do over there. And yeah, thanks for watching.